Ability is one of the most important factors in competitive Pokémons. While some of them single-handedly improve the Pokémons by a significant amount, some others only have uses outside of battles and rendered useless in competitive settings. Although a Pokémon can have at most 3 abilities, there are only a few Pokémons that can utilize them all, or at least 2 out of 3. In this video, we're going to be looking at the top 5 Pokémons with the best 3 ability set, judging by the abilities themselves as well as how they help the Mons thrive in their competitive career. At number 5, we have Ribero, the evolution of Bidoof, who is among the most memeable Pokémons. Ribero has 3 abilities. Those include Unaware, Simple, and Moody. Unaware Ribero never seen plays, despite Unaware being a solid ability due to the fact that Ribero is not a tank, but rather an offensive Pokémon most of the time. However, Simple is an excellent ability in this case. The way it works is if the Pokemon stat stages are either raised or lowered, the effect is going to be doubled. For example, if Ribero were to use Swords Dance, instead of going into +2 attack as usual, which is going to be 2 stages, it's going to be doubled to +3 in attack, aka 4 stages, allowing it to buff its stats faster. This also comes with a downside though of when Ribero's stat got lowered, say by using Superpower. The reduction in attack and defense after using a move will also be doubled, but the benefit of the positive effect is so big, you can pretty much ignore the negativity as it matters less in the grand scheme of things. As good as Simple is, the main selling point that helps Ribero make it to the list is none other than the notoriously banned ability, Moody. Moody reads that at the end of the turn, the Pokemon gets a random stat boost by 2 stages, and a random stat drop by 1 stage. On surface, this seems like an unreliable way to get a +1 in the overall stat, but practically speaking, there are a lot more into it than what it seems. The way to abuse this ability is by spamming Protect, which is gonna protect you literally for 1 turn, or Substitute, which pretty much almost does the same thing if you are faster than the opposing Pokemon. With these 2 moves, you can easily saw out some turns to wait for the correct stats to get boosted. In Ribero's case, are attack and speed, while slowly eating popcorns and watching your opponent suffer. In the past, this ability was extremely powerful, as it could boost your evasion, and then you would have a chance to dodge almost any move, while being safe behind the substitute. Nowadays, it got nerfed in the sense that you can't buff your evasion with Moody anymore, but it still remains one of the most unhealthy and cheesy abilities of all time, alongside the fact that it takes you a long time to finish a game with Moody Mons being involved, which is why Smogon decided to ban it in any serious competitive tier. The reason why Ribero is so low on this list is that it's a Pokemon with good abilities, but not actually good on its own despite having those abilities. However, it's still worth mentioning just because of how overpowered these abilities are, and one of them legitimately got banned. The higher Pokemons on this list are all good Pokemons that have decent amount of success in utilizing their abilities. Coming at number 4, we have Crocodile, a ground Dark-type Pokemon with 2 amazing abilities in Moxie and Intimidate, alongside the remaining more obscure ability called Anger Point. Intimidate is a more useful one among the 3 in most cases, as it allows Crocodile to hit the field more safely by reducing the attack stage of opposing Pokemon by 1 the moment the Crook comes out. This is extremely useful and versatile, as it basically enables the Pokemon to function as an effective pivot for physical attackers, with less risk involved of course, while also help it out in case it wants to set up more easily, commonly seen on Pokemon such as Gyarados, Salamence, or Mega Mawile prior to Mega Evolving. Moxie is a less universal ability, but it's still a good one. It gives you a +1 in attack after you knocked out a Pokemon, which can potentially result in a snowball effect if your opponent is not careful and let your Crocodile sweep their entire team. Anger Point, however, is probably the least known one, as it makes your Pokemon reach maximum attack, aka an equivalent of +6 attack stages, if you got hit by a critical hit that is. It's something that you only see as a gimmick in doubles format rather than a single, where you purposely hit your mon with critical hit by your teammate thanks to Super Luck and Scope Lens. It's definitely not as easy to activate this ability in single as it is in double, but a specific early metagame during Gen 8 made this possible. You see, there was a time in Gen 8 when a Shifu single strike was allowed in OU. It would tear through a significant amount of Pokémons with just 2 of its stab moves, one being Wicked Blow. The move itself is a dark type move with 80 base power and 100% accuracy that always result in a critical hit. Since it was one of the best breakers in OU at that time, you'll often see it on the opposing side. Here was when Angle Point Crocodile came in and took advantage of that. Wicked Blow is so spammable in the tier 2. It will tank the hit, as Croc is a dark type, so it resists Wicked Blow, and it will get the immediate +6 in attack. By holding a Joy Scarf, one Croc could potentially end the game right there after eating a single Wicked Blow. Although the Shifu single strike later banned, and the usage of Angle Point Crocodile died down, it was memorable enough to make Angle Point shine, even if it was just for a short while. It's more than enough to give Crocodile a spot on this list. At number 3, we have Clefable. This is probably debatable, but Clefable's competitive career is such a success you can't ignore it, especially when it utilizes its abilities so well. Clefable has 3 abilities in Q-Charm, Unaware, and Magic Guard. While Q-Charm is more of a joke and only seen on Clefable when you accidentally didn't check your Clefable's ability and went into a battle in Pokemon Showdown, Unaware and Magic Guard both have a lot of screen time and sometimes make your opponent think. Unlike Ribero, Clefable knows how to use Unaware for the best. The ability allows it to ignore the stat changes of opposing Pokemons. For example, if a Volcarona is as +6 special attack, uses an attacking move on you, it will be as if there wasn't any boost at all, and you'll take the same amount of damage as you would against a non-boosted Volcarona. The reason why it works so well on Clefable is that it's a Pokemon with an impressive defensive profile, being a mono fairy and having good stat distribution, allowing it to tank a lot of hits from various attacks. It's also very useful against not only the aforementioned Volcarona, but also other setup sweepers such as Kommo-o, Gyarados, Hawlucha, Dragonite, Garchomp, and the list goes on. Now, Unaware is nice and all, but Magic Guard is the one ability that makes Clefable, well, Clefable, and it's the foundation of the Pokemon itself. It helps Clefable avoid all passive damage such as Sandstorm, Burn, Poison, any trapping moves, as well as entry hazard like Stealth Rock and Spikes. It makes the mons extremely difficult to take out, as if its defensive capability wasn't enough already. Now it can come in and out easily without worrying about hazards and absorb all your damaging status move at once. Clefable also has a diverse move pool for it to run, and sometimes you have no idea what it has at the moment. It can also be Calm Mind, which pairs pretty well with Magic Guard since you can't damage it with Toxic, making it more prone to sweep. We can actually sit here all day and talk about how good a Clefable is, although, obviously, this list isn't more about Clefable than anything else. At least you got the idea. Moving on to the runner-up spot, we have Reuniclus. Possessing Magic Guard, just like Clefable, it also has 2 other abilities, Overcoat and Regenerator. Magic Guard is quite easy to understand as mentioned above from Clefable, plus Reuniclus can also use the dangerous duo setup with Acid Armor, buffing your defense, and Calm Mind, buffing your special defense and special attack simultaneously, with only attacking move being Psyshock from older gens or Store Power in Gen 8. If you don't have a Dark type in your team, chances are you're probably gonna get 6-0'd by the block alone, as you can't damage it with Toxic either due to Magic Guard. It's not relegated to run only one set though. It can also run just Calm Mind and add one more coverage to its slot, such as Focus Blast for the Dark types or Thunder for Haze toss effects. The important thing that Magic Guard goes well with all of these options. Regenerator is also an absolute beast of an ability. However, if Reuniclus uses this ability, its set will also likely gonna change to a more supporting role. The most known one being Assault Vest, in which it can be used as a pivot for special attacking moves, while knocking off items by using knockoff left and right, as well as using Future Sight to set up for an assault 2 turns later. No matter what set you're running, Reuniclus is always gonna have an impact on your game, either with Magic Guard or Regenerator. Now, Overcoat is a decent ability that grants you the immunity to hail or sandstorm damaging effect, and also to powder moves like Spore, Sunspore, or Sleep Powder. It's just unfortunate that it has to compete with two of, if not, the best abilities ever created. It's also the reason why no one runs Overcoat on Reuniclus, but hey, at least two phenomenal abilities are enough for Reuniclus to finish in second. The number one on this list, despite using mostly just two abilities, still to this day, one of the most unpredictable and powerful threats ever existed. We have Greninja. Greninja has three abilities: Torrent, Protein, and Battle Bond. While Torrent is just a generic ability for all water-type starter Pokémons that boosts your water-type move by 50% when your HP is at 1/3 or less. The other two are just unbelievably overpowered. Protein is an ability that allows the Pokémon to change the typing to match the move which it uses that turn. For example, if you use Ice Beam, you turn into an Ice type before using the move on that exact same turn, and so on. To the untrained eyes, this doesn't seem like it's overpowered at all, and more so of a troll or a funny idea like turning into a ground type to deal with electric or ghost to deal with fighting type. But the problem lies on one of the mechanics of Pokemon involving the damage output called STAB, also known as Stab, same type attack bonus. You see, Stab amplifies a move's power when a Pokemon's type matches the move type. This boost in power is increased by 50%. That means, for example, if a Pidgeot uses Hyper Beam, which has 150 base power, since Hyper Beams is also a normal type move, matching the typing of Pidgeot, a normal type Pokemon itself, Hyper Beam's base power will actually become 225 instead. That is a huge boost. With Protein, every single move Greninja use will become stab moves, and they will be buffed by 50% regardless of what it is. This is extremely powerful because Greninja already has a great move pool which contains a lot of offensive coverage aside from Water and Dark, its own typing, ranging from special attack moves such as Ice Beam, Grass Knot, Extra Sensory, etc. to physical moves like Rock Slide, Gunk Shot, Low Kick, and the useful Momentum Regenerator, U-Turn. By having a decent special attack stat and attack stat, Greninja can run any of those moves effectively and dish out serious damage with stab boost from Protein, which makes it very difficult to scout for what he's going for. It's still very shocking to know though that despite having Protein as a very overpowered ability, it also has another very good ability in Battle Bond, which makes it hard to choose somewhat. This ability turns Greninja into Ash Greninja after knocking out a Pokemon. Ash Gren has such monstrous stats compared to a normal Gren, although grabbing a kill is not a piece of cake in most matchups except for hyper offense. This ability dictates the way your opponent play the game. They have to play more carefully and passively, and then you can make your play accordingly. When they spot an Ash Gren on the run, they can't make risky and aggressive plays as often as they would have, because it can easily turn into a very one-sided game if they allow Gren to transform into Ash Gren. With your specs, the damage output of a regular Greninja is nothing to laugh at either, as Water and Dark are both extremely spammable, alongside spikes to exert the pressure if the Gren user wants to get a guarantee value out of the turn. Greninja having both Protein and Battle Bond was an absolute nightmare to deal with during the Gen 7 era, when the meta was already filled with different threats at the time. It's also worth mentioning that the mons that check Ash Greninja can easily be ran over by just a Protein Greninja, as there's no way to tell which one switch in Team Preview aside from the fact that Ash Gren can't be female, which, can easily be manipulated in any type of game. For example, a Soft-As Magina can deal with Ash Gren prior to transforming a decent number of times, but if the Gren turns out to be Protein with Z-Dig, a Tectonic Rage will claim an easy KO, making it a 5v6 right off the bat, granting you with a big advantage. Same as a Soft-As Bulu, falling over to Gunk Shot, Mantine to Rock Slide, or Ferrothorn to Hidden Power Fire, and the list goes on. The fact that Protein
It's already hard to handle on its own, coupled with Battle Bond on a very fast and hard-hitting Pokemon like Greninja gives you headache if you happen to stumble upon a completely normal game in Gen 7 OU. With all that, Greninja comes in at number 1. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this type of video, leave a like so more will come in the future. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.